In this video, we're going to be answering the question, what is the effect of light on the rate of photosynthesis in plants? And we're going to primarily focus on the practical skills, which is a practical that you are going to do in class. So what you are going to do is you're going to set up an investigation that looks like this. What we have here is we've got a lamp, and you can see that I've laid the lamp on its side so that it's closer to the right level for what we're going to do. And you can see that next to that, I've lined up a meter ruler, and you should notice that the meter ruler is lined up so that the bulb is in line with 0. So it's not the edge of the lamp that's in line with 0. It's actually the bulb that's in line with 0 on the meter ruler. We also have here, I've got a leaf and a hole punch, and that's because I'm going to be punching some leaf discs out of this leaf, but you'll be provided with leaf discs, and those will be inside a petri dish, which is just for convenience for moving them from place to place. What you also have is a pair of forceps, and forceps are like big tweezers, and they're used to transfer the leaf discs from place to place. And then we're also going to carry out photosynthesis inside a syringe. So here we have the syringe barrel, which is the outside part of the syringe, and we also have the plunger, which is the inside part of the syringe. And then the really important part, other than the leaf obviously, is this 3% sodium hydrogen carbonate solution. Now this sodium hydrogen carbonate, the key here is the carbonate part. It contains CO3, which dissolves inside this solution, and it gives our plant a source of carbon dioxide. So if we didn't have sodium hydrogen carbonate solution, the leaf discs wouldn't be able to get any carbon dioxide. And for you, your sodium hydrogen carbonate will be inside a water bath where it's been heated to 30 degrees. And that's to give the leaf discs a nice warm temperature for them to photosynthesize in, because we know that photosynthesis is controlled by enzymes, and enzymes need to have a warm temperature for their kinetic energy so that they can bump into their substrates and cause a reaction to happen. And what you also need for this experiment, which is not in this image, is a stopwatch so that you can record how long it takes for the leaf discs to float, or how long it takes for photosynthesis to happen. So this is what you're going to do. And obviously you can see I've got the setup here. And like you can see, I'm using a hole punch to take discs out of this leaf. And these discs are going to photosynthesize inside of the syringe. And you're going to use 5 leaf discs in total. So you'll have 5 recordings, 1 for each leaf disc. So it's like doing 5 repeats. And you can see the forceps come in handy. You should use the forceps to move the leaf discs around. Don't try to use your fingers or you'll squash them. And you're going to transfer your 5 leaf discs into the barrel of the syringe. And again, do this gently so that you don't squash them. But they do sometimes get stuck to the forceps, so you have to give a little tap to get them to come off. And then you're going to insert the syringe plunger into the barrel. Now this is a bit tricky, and if you need my help with this, that's fine. It's best if you do it at an angle slightly, but like you can see, it's a bit tough to do. So if you want my help with that, then please just say so to make sure that you are safe. And then you're going to push out as much air as you can push out without squashing your leaf discs. Now we're ready for the sodium hydrogen carbonate solution. So you can see NaHCO3, and this is 3%. So it's 3 grams of sodium hydrogen carbonate in 1 liter of water. Okay, so we're going to add 20 cc's or 20 milliliters of the sodium hydrogen carbonate, but you can see there's some air in the syringe. So I've pulled it out to more than 20 to take account for some of the air, and now we need to squeeze the air out. So how you do that is you just angle it so that the bubble of air is pointing towards the kind of outy part of the the little nub that sticks out, and then you just squeeze the air out like that. And then you'll need to check that you've got exactly 20 cc's inside your syringe. Now we need to make the leaf discs sink. Sometimes you can just flick them and that works, but it doesn't always. So sometimes you need to put your thumb over the end and really hold it tight and then pull out the plunger. And what that does is it just sucks the air out of the leaf discs so that it causes them to sink. And then get out any air that you've accidentally put in there, and you can see our leaf discs are ready to photosynthesize. So we're going to place it at the distance that we want. Our first distance is 20 centimeters. And you can see it's all set up now. So what we're going to do is put on the light and start the stopwatch. And we're going to wait until the discs float. So the question is, why will the discs float, and how is the floating of the discs, how does it indicate photosynthesis? So what you can see here is that on the surface of the discs already are some bubbles. And those bubbles are the oxygen that's being produced by photosynthesis. So as the light shines on the leaves, and in my case, I used cold solution, but in your case, you'll use warm solution. So the leaves will photosynthesize and they'll produce these little bubbles of oxygen, and the bubbles will sit on the surface of the leaf. Eventually, when there are enough bubbles of oxygen, it will be enough to make the leaf float. So this leaf disc will float to the surface when there's enough oxygen on it. The length of time it takes to float is an indicator of how much oxygen is on it, and the amount of oxygen on it is an indicator of photosynthesis. So if it rises quickly, that means it's collected oxygen quickly, and if it takes a long time to rise, that means that it hasn't collected oxygen quickly. This is it set up, and you can see the stopwatch is running, and all we've got to do is wait. So when the first leaf disc floats to the surface, you need to take a record of the time, but don't stop the timer, keep it running. Then the second leaf disc will float and you can record the time for number 2, the third one for number 3, and so on. So you're just going to keep a record of the time, but keep the timer running the whole time. And that is how we will conduct this experiment.